come down and work with you guys.
Yeah, and I think it's good for them because they know they need to get the work in, and it's a lot easier for them to just drive an hour and a half from Milwaukee as opposed to getting on a flight and maybe having a stopover somewhere, a layover, and trying to get down to Biloxi or San Antonio. And this way, it's just easy for them to get up. They can drive back home. If they want to stay in their bed that night, they can do that.
Yeah, the partnership has been so smooth with the parent club. Last thing for you, I know the Fox Club has been a tremendous success here in the off season. I know we're in the months of January. It feels like every weekend you drive by and the lights are going on. There's some sort of banquet. Just how much of an asset has that been here for you guys?
It's been really nice for us. Again, we've got a great location right on the highway and easy access. And when we first opened up, we were a baseball stadium, which is what we were meant to be, but you sit empty for so many days out of the year. So this has really been great for us to be open year-round, be able to use that space for baseball games, but then, for the non-baseball games during the season, during the winter, banquets, weddings, you name it. We're doing events, breakfast, lunch. We cater now, so we deliver off-site. So it's really opened up a lot of opportunities for us, and bringing executive chefs on board, so that just upped the game with food for Timber Rattler games as well. So there's been a lot of synergies, and it's done a lot for our organization.
You haven't been to a wedding until you've been to a wedding at Fox City Stadium. It's
definitely
fantastic.
Unique, yeah.
So always appreciate your time. Good luck as the off-season continues. There's really no off-season for you, but here during the winter months before we get to spring training and everything. Great catching up with you.
Good deal. Thanks, BJ.
Yep. Wisconsin Timber Rattlers president Rob Zerjav joining us here at the 2020 Red Smith Awards press party. It is sponsored by Pollock Investment Group, RBC Wealth Management, here inside the Red Lion Hotel Paper Valley as we get set for the 55th annual Red Smith Awards coming up shortly. MC and WHBY's very own from AM Fox Valley, Dave Edwards, the MC and the host for the night. Looking forward to catching up with all the great names. We'll also catch up here shortly with Bob Costas, Jerry Davis, Sidney Moncrief, and much more. The Green Bay Packers, represented by President and CEO Mark Murphy, who makes his annual stop here to the Red Smith Awards as well. So looking forward to it. We'll take another break. Back with more from the 2020 Red Smith Awards press party after this. Welcome back to the 2020 Red Smith Awards press party, sponsored by Pollock Investment Group, RBC Wealth Management. It's the 55th annual Red Smith Awards tonight inside the Red Lion Hotel, Paper Valley. And very honored to be visiting with Jerry Davis, a Red Smith Award recipient tonight. 38 years as a major league umpire.
It doesn't seem possible, but that's correct, yeah.
Resident here in Appleton for
I lived here 33 years.
33 years.
Yeah, I moved here in the winter of '76 after my first year in baseball. I had umpired for the Appleton Foxes and moved here after that season.
What got you started? What got you involved in the game?
Well, I didn't really grow up wanting to be an umpire. I didn't realize I wanted to be a player like everybody else. And I had hurt my arm. I played for a semi-pro traveling team in St. Louis, and I had hurt my arm and couldn't pitch. And we would provide one of the umpires whenever we traveled. And my manager said, well, since you can't pitch, you're going to be the umpire. And I did it. He said, you know, you're pretty decent. You should think about going to umpire school. And, I mean, I didn't even know there was such a thing. You know, so I went to umpire school, not even knowing that that's what I wanted to do when I got there. I knew I wanted to be involved in sports in some capacity if I could. So once I got there, I fell in love with it, and here we are.
You still love it as much today?
You know what?
As you do?
I really do.
Yeah.
It's very interesting because I often say to myself that if it comes about time for spring training and you're not anxious to go, then you shouldn't go. But I still do. I still get that angst every time I go on the field.
Oh, unfortunately, Major League Baseball kind of in the news here for the wrong reasons with the Astros and now the Red Sox and the scandal that has kind of taken over for those two clubs. When you first hear that, what's your reaction?
Well, it's disappointing.
Yeah.
You know, it's a shame. I mean, it's a black eye on baseball, no question. But I believe that the commissioner is going to make a positive out of it. I think his actions were fairly swift and severe after his investigation. And everyone in baseball has a lot of confidence in the commissioner doing it the right way.
Now, you were involved, I believe, in the first replay ever in Major League Baseball. Tampa Bay Rays, Tropicana Field, I believe it was?
That was a long time ago, BJ.
Yes, it was.
I'm not sure I remember the play you're talking about. Which one?
I think it might have been a play at the plate or interference in some sort. But regardless, this was
I probably missed it, right?
Regardless, this is more of an instant replay question.
Sure.
We've seen advances, it seems like, every year, a little bit here and there. From an umpire's perspective, when instant replay is brought up, how do you feel?
That's an interesting topic because when we were first approached about replay, obviously we were a little tentative and apprehensive about it. But our objective is to get everything right, and if there's a way to help us do that, we want to do that. The one thing I say all the time is that no one really wants a play named after them. Nobody wants the Don Dinkinger play or the Jim Joyce play. So if there are tools out there that can help us be better at our job, we should embrace that.
You nailed it right on the head. I'm thinking embrace it when we discuss that. Talk about an automatic strike zone. I kind of laugh when I hear that because I don't know how you remove a home plate umpire from Major League Baseball.
Right. I guess I've learned to never say never.
Yeah.
They are testing and trying to improve the technology. It's not there yet. The interesting thing is that the average Major League umpire scores about 97.3% on pitches, and granted, that's not 100%. But I think one of the things that true baseball fans really appreciate is the human element of the game. I mean, if there's a ground ball to the shortstop and it goes through his legs, you don't want to put it, you don't want to do over or whatever. And baseball's always been subject to the human element, and I think that's part of the lure of it.
Visiting with Major League umpire Jerry Davis, have you ever scored perfect on a game?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I often say, BJ, that I've had like 15 perfect games.
Okay.
Yeah. Never when the pitcher did. But yes, I have been fortunate enough to score perfectly a few times.
One thing that stands out, and I'm going to go through a couple of ejections, probably not something you enjoy talking about.
No problem.
2014, Michael Pineda for the Yankees.
Sure.
That one rings in my mind. I don't know how he expected to get away with that on his neck like that.
Well, the stakes are high enough now that, as been illustrated recently, players will do whatever they can to get an edge. And it's interesting how that came about. My son is a big Red Sox fan, and he was in town in Boston for that series, visiting for the weekend, and had a couple friends. And I think it had been reported that Pineda was suspected of doing it earlier.
Yes.
Yeah, and as I left for the park, Jeremy said, keep an eye out for Pineda now. And sure enough, it happened, yeah.
Yeah, just the touch of the neck, the substance.
Exactly.
Adrian Beltre, 2017, the batting circle.
Sure.
We know, I think, from baseball fans know how much of a character Adrian Beltre is.
Right.
Take us through that a little bit, because the video after it surfaced and the highlights come out,
Sure.
very interesting in that whole situation.
Well, quite frankly, he was gaining an advantage. They had brought in a relief pitcher who was warming up, and Adrian wanted to stand behind the plate as much as he could and see the movement on the pitches, and that's really why there's a batting circle there, is so that they have to stay over, at least in that vicinity, to stop that from happening. And we had warned him a couple times to go back. He chose not to and got ejected.
What was your instant reaction when he pulls the circle?
It was, are you kidding me?
Right?
Because I don't know if you've seen the video, but I started to walk back to my position.
Right.
I said, let's go. And started to walk back, and then he pulled it. And, you have to draw the line somewhere. Imagine had I not reacted or done anything then, it would have been a black eye on the umpiring profession if I didn't react.
Sure.
So when Joe Torre, our boss, talked to me the next day, he said, I knew he was in trouble when he moved the circle.
What's it like working with Joe?
He's been very fair.
Yeah.
He really has. His playing and managing experience really helps him as far as dealing with us, and he's been very fair. You're always going to have issues with management, but overall, I think we're very happy.
I'm sure you've had thousands of comments and stories galore, but if there's one maybe comment from a player or coach that was fired your way that actually got a pretty good laugh, whether it was meant that way or not, do you have one? That's safe for radio and TV.
Yeah, exactly. I have to qualify that. You're right. Actually, an incident with Joe Torre comes to mind. I don't really remember if he was managing the Cardinals or the Braves at the time, but I called one of his guys out on a play at first base, and he came out to argue, had his say, and left, and kept popping off from the dugout. And that's one of my pet peeves, is yelling from the dugout.
Sure.
He had just been out there. If you have something to say to me, say it to me when you're there. So he goes back and he's popping off. I told him to knock it off, and his phrase was, I thought you were supposed to get better with the experience. So he got ejected as well. Yeah.
Well, plenty of experience. 38 years as a Major League umpire. You have umpired the most postseason games in Major League history. Tonight, you're the Wed Smith Award winner. Thank you very much for coming here into town and sharing some time with us here on stage.
Thank you, BJ. It's a
Excellent.
pleasure to be here.
Jerry Davis, Major League umpire, joining us on stage here at the 2020 Red Smith Awards banquet press party here from the Red Lion Hotel, Paper Valley. And the press party is brought to you by Pollock Investment Group, RBC Wealth Management. And we continue. We'll take another break as the guests continue to file in. One of the award winners tonight, they are Jerry Davis, 38 years as a Major League umpire, and the Red Smith Award winner tonight. We'll take a break. Back with more after this here on WHBY and The Score. Welcome back into 2020 Red Smith Awards press party, and it's brought to you by Pollock Investment Group, RBC Wealth Management, as we get you set for the awards banquet moments away, and joined by John Steinmiller, Executive Vice President of Operations for the Milwaukee Bucks and Fiserv Forum. Good evening, sir. How are you doing?
Great to meet you, BJ. It's a pleasure to be with you with all the connections we have with the Bucks and the Herd.
Yes, well, WHBY, radio affiliate of the Milwaukee Bucks, The Score, radio affiliate, and the home for Wisconsin Herd basketball. Every button that the Bucks organization is pushing right now is a home run. It's unbelievable, from the arena, from the Deer District to the play on the court, and the synergy then that trickles into the Wisconsin Herd. You guys are hitting home runs right now, batting 1,000.
It's very exciting. I got my fingers crossed. I got horseshoes everywhere. I mean, it's really, you wanna jump and scream, but you also know you want to get to the back end of it, which is playoffs and hopefully a championship round.
How do you avoid thinking playoffs too much and jumping that far ahead? And maybe this is more of a team question, but I wonder how much that spurs into the front office as well.
Well, the basketball players and the basketball management are very, very well cautioned about that, and they know it. They don't want to be very loose about it. They know that every game is a win. You got to get that. And also that they see, last year was a tough year at the end of the season. It was beautiful, just like this, but then we couldn't get into that next round. And I think that will be very, very, it'll be done in a different way. I think they'll be ready to go. And the younger players that are with us are playing with some veterans now. The new players that came in it's a great culture. It's like a happy family right now, and we're going to keep it that way.
36-6, and fans see the players, fans see the coaches, they hear from the coaches. They don't often see behind the scenes and get to talk with gentlemen like yourself.
Mm-hmm.
How much, and you mentioned synergy, how much of that synergy and the fun and the atmosphere trickles into the front office?
Well, everybody in the front office is excited about how we can get the fans to come in, how we can provide promotions, how we can get them to the building for the first time. We have certificates for the first time a child comes.
Yep.
There's all these things that are part of the package of Bucks basketball, as well as all the concerts that we get. We're getting, we'll be over 40 concerts this year for the Fiserv Forum, which is outstanding. We have Michael Bublé coming. We have Disney Show on Ice coming. All those things are part of the Fiserv and the Bucks together.
What makes, in your mind, Fiserv so special? I know it's state-of-the-art. I know it's brand new. It's a beautiful facility, but in your mind, what makes it so special outside of what you guys are bringing in?
It's special because we're winning.
Yes.
Number one, but from the point of the shovel in the ground till when it was finally opened, in this second year, it's just fantastic, and we keep adding to it. We've had different features, bring new food in all the time. It's a very clean section. There are great sight lines. All those things go together to make us happy in the office, make sure that our ticket people are doing well, make sure that we're bringing in family shows as well as concerts and meetings such as the DNC, which will be maybe the biggest meeting we've had for sure, and hopefully we can get them back sometime too, and we'll do a Republican one too if they'll come.
Oh, it's a big announcement, and can you take us through all of that a little bit and kind of the excitement surrounding that? I know it's here, 2020 is here, so I know a lot of the groundwork is already laid.
Mm-hmm. The city is very excited. The mayor, all the governmental people, county executive, everybody's pitching in, and there's a big call for volunteers. There have to be volunteers there to help make things go, to have a friendly approach if people have questions. It's a big piece of the part is having volunteers coming into the city for 5 or 6 days and maybe for a couple of weeks in some cases, and that really helps us do well with the committee and also possibly come back in the future.
Well, as far as the team is concerned, 36-6. You mentioned the winning. The culture seems fantastic. The synergy, again, with the Wisconsin Herd and the Milwaukee Bucks, something that WHBY and the Score are part of. It's been an honor to have you here on stage tonight. Continue to do whatever you guys are doing because it is working.
Well, this is a fantastic event, and I've been here a number of times. We always have problems sometimes with schedules, which have to happen because everybody's got something going.
Well, look at it this way, you're on a back-to-back tonight.
Yeah, that's
we go.
true. That's true. Marquette's playing down in the Fiserv Forum now, and then tomorrow we got Boston, and it's a great feeling to be back here at the Red Smith dinner. I can tell you that.
Well, we appreciate it, sir.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
John Steinmiller, Executive Vice President of Operations with the Milwaukee Bucks and with Fiserv Forum, joining us here at the press party, the 2020 Red Smith Awards press party. It's brought to you by Pollock Investment Group, RBC Wealth Management. Ahead of the 55th annual awards banquet coming up, we had Jerry Davis here on stage moments ago. We have another award winner coming up shortly. It'll be Sidney Moncrief. He'll join me on stage next. Stick around. This is the Red Smith Awards press party.
Very nice. Yeah. You talk a little bit about that.
Yes, that would be good.
Good evening once again, and welcome into the 2020 Red Smith Awards press party presented by Pollock Investment Group, RBC Wealth Management, as we get set for the 55th annual Red Smith Awards from the Red Lion Hotel, Paper Valley, and visiting with the Shield Sports Nice Guy Award winner, former Milwaukee Buck, Sidney Moncrief in the house. How you doing, sir?
Hey, BJ, how are you doing today?
Fantastic.
Great.
Fantastic to have you. 11 NBA seasons, 10 in Milwaukee. You won the first 2 ever NBA Defensive Player of the Year awards. Where are those awards right now?
I have no idea.
No?
I don't know where they are. I moved so much over the last 20 to 30, well, actually 35 years to 40 years that I cannot locate my Defensive Player of the Year award.
Man, first 2 ever. I would imagine they'd be in the office somewhere.
No, I don't. I'm not very big on awards and souvenirs and trophy rooms. And to me, you play the game, you have fun. You're certainly proud of your accomplishments, but you don't need to see them all the time.
You guys won a lot of games when you were with Milwaukee. I think the most wins in that decade that you played, and the highest winning percentage, I think next to the Lakers when you played.
That's right, next to the Lakers, and I think the Celtics.
Okay.
But certainly I'm certainly the Lakers.
Yes. I think you were second.
We were second, okay.
Won a lot of games. That's what this team is doing now. When's the last time you caught a Bucks game, and what do you think of the squad right now?
Well, I watched them last night. I do a radio post-game show for about 24 games.
Oh, very nice.
And I'm able to watch the Bucks play, and I have to give the analysis of the team. Exciting.
Right?
If they stay healthy, they have a good shot.
How do you avoid, I think everybody's got the eye in the postseason, Eastern Conference Finals last year, 36-6 now. How do you avoid looking too far ahead?
I think their experience with Giannis and their coaching staff, they keep those guys right in the moment. Isn't that amazing? They're just focused on what's in front of them right now, like the Knicks They didn't look past the Knicks to the Celtics. They took care of that game, and that's the type of team they have. I don't really worry about them looking forward. I just want them to continue to win, get home court, and stay healthy.
A lot of memories, 10 years in Milwaukee. I'm sure a lot of people would love you to sit down one-on-one and have you talk to Giannis as that next contract comes up and say, look what I did. I spent 10 years in Milwaukee. Is there one thing that stands out back when you look back at those 10 seasons with the Bucks?
Milwaukee and Wisconsin was a type of city that fit my personality. Work ethic, family, faith, and loyalty. And it was a perfect blend. It fits Giannis's personality. So I'm not really concerned about Giannis going anywhere else because the Bucks, Milwaukee, Wisconsin is the place for Giannis. You really can't say, I need to go somewhere else to get more endorsements. Because he's getting endorsements. You can't really say, well, I need to go somewhere else to make more money because he's going to make more money in Milwaukee than anywhere else. I just don't know any scenario that would cause him to want to leave Milwaukee.
Milwaukee Bucks Sidney Moncrief joining us here at the press party. You had an opportunity to talk a little bit about diversity and inclusion today. Tell us a little bit what you did today.
We have one of our initiatives in my company. We are a people development company. And one of our big initiatives is in diversity and inclusion in sports, particularly basketball and football and all sports, and really the arts, the fine arts. It's really the best model for our young people and also our adults on how diversity and inclusion should look. And we wanted people today, the kids, to know that we are one. It's only one race, and it's our responsibility to work together, to like each other, to be nice to one another and be respectful.
You can tell just by the passion and enjoyment you have speaking about that, how much that means to you. 2019, the NBA Hall of Fame comes calling, Basketball Hall of Fame comes calling. What was your initial reaction?
I don't know. I didn't know how to feel. I was struggling with that because some guys, they wait their entire life for that call, or they never get the call, and they're like, why was I not elected to the Hall of Fame? I told my wife, she gave me the phone, and they told me, congratulations. I said, cool. That's the only word I had was cool. But I didn't have any emotions or feelings because I just felt that my career and where I was in life, I was in a good place. So I didn't really need the Hall of Fame to validate that. However, I'm very pleased that I am a member of the Hall of Fame.
And you mentioned that validation. I think that's an interesting point because a lot of people look at the Hall of Fame and say, well, that validates the career, that validates my time. But being at peace after the game, how long did that take?
I had a business to go right into. So I thought I was at peace until I was watching the playoff game after year number 1, and I saw a team playing, and I came back and played the next year.
Yes.
Because I still felt I could play. But once I no longer felt I could play basketball any longer, then I was okay with life, and I just wanted to impact people and to have a quality life.
I've got a quote here from Michael Jordan. I know you've heard it before. Quote, when you play against Moncrief, you're in for a night of all-around basketball. He'll hound you everywhere. You go, both ends of the court. You just expect that. You brought something up off air, and I wonder if you're going to share it. You go, guess how many points he put up against me after he said that
Well,
quote.
yeah, I didn't know if he said that before or after he scored 50 on me. Michael was just a tremendous player. But I tell people when I do speaking engagements that the level of focus and concentration for me didn't change whether I played Michael Jordan or BJ. It didn't really matter. I was going to have the same grit, the same discipline, the same effort. It didn't matter. And I think he saw that I really played hard and I wasn't really intimidated by any. I couldn't stop him. However, I wanted to make sure he had to work hard for everything he got.
Where did that come from? A lot of people look at defense these days and, shoot, they want to score the basketball. Where did you get the motivation and just the grit, as you called it, to play defense the way you did?
And I think it's the discipline and the routine because in high school, my high school coach wanted me to be more than an offensive player. I never forget I went to play the game and scored 30-something points, 15 rebounds, and all these assists. And I came in the gymnasium. I was feeling really good about myself.
Chest pumped out?
Chest pumped out. And Coach Elders, my high school coach, said, son, come in here. I want you to see something. I'm like, oh, gosh, he's going to look at my great performance. He ran that old film back, and he just ripped everything I did on the defensive side. And then I played for Coach Eddie Sutton.
Yep.
So we played, if we practiced 3 hours, 2.5, we practiced defense. And then Don Nelson and John Killalay and that group, they were also very defensive-minded.
So you kind of embrace it if you're
embrace
putting
it.
that much time into it.
A lot of time into playing defense.
Fantastic. Shields Nice Guy Award winner tonight. Milwaukee all-time great. Sidney Moncrief in the house. Sir, appreciate your time.
Thank
Best
you,
of
BJ.
luck here in the future.
Appreciate it.
And we'll catch up down the line.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Sidney Moncrief with the Milwaukee Bucks joining us, our Shields Nice Guy Award winner here tonight, ahead of the 55th Annual Sports Awards coming up here shortly. We'll take a break. Packers president and CEO Mark Murphy coming to the stage. After this is the Red Smith Awards press party. 95.3 The Score and 1150 WHBY. Good evening once again. Welcome back into the 2020 Red Smith Awards press party, sponsored by Pollock Investment Group, RBC Wealth Management, ahead of the 55th Annual Red Smith Awards here at the Red Lion Hotel, Paper Valley. And as per usual, President and CEO of the Green Bay Packers, Mark Murphy, here on stage. Sir, this is kind of a fun time to be here, huh?
It is. We were just saying, the last 2 years, missing the playoffs and coming down here, talking about what went wrong. So it's nice to be here and still in the playoffs, and obviously have a great opportunity ahead of us on Sunday.
I think when they always schedule this, they try to say, how can we make this a scheduling nightmare for Mark, because they'll be in the NFC Championship. But a lot of excitement. Green Bay back in the NFC Championship. 49ers on Sunday. When you hired Matt LaFleur a little over a year ago, right about this time, did you think this was going to happen?
I wish I could say yes. But, I was obviously very excited about Matt when we hired him. I really felt confident that he'd do well for us, but he's exceeded my expectations. I mean, what he's accomplished this year is really pretty remarkable. And you look at it, the history of our organization, I don't, there hasn't been a first-year coach that's achieved what he's done. So it's a real credit to him. He's a hard worker. He's young, he's inexperienced, but he's made all the right moves, and he's got a maturity to him. And the biggest thing is, the relationship that he's established, and the confidence that our players have in him is really palpable.
When was the point this year where you kind of said, hey, look, something special here? Was it in training camp? Was it at some point during the season when he said, look, hey, we've got the pieces that we can make a run? Yeah,
in the offseason, I thought he made a lot of really smart moves. Some of the things he did around the team, and you could see the relationship that he'd established, not only with the players, but with the coaches and in the building. And I thought in the offseason you could see that things were really going well. But quite honestly, you never know until you get into the regular season. And, the way we started the season with that win over the Bears, first time I really thought to myself, we might have something special here.
The decision to move on from Ted Thompson, Brian Gutekunst, and obviously moving on from Mike McCarthy. You took your fair share of criticism when that all went on, and basically saying, look, the buck stops with me. Matt and Brian will answer to me. You look now 13-3. Got to say, you appeared you know what you were talking about.
Well, yes, I mean, no, all the credit goes to Brian. Just been really pleased with him. He stepped in and has done an outstanding job. And you look at the moves he made, especially this year, not just the free agent signings and the draft, but moves he's made throughout the year have really benefited us. And I would say this too, though. The continuity that we had is pretty rare, and it really benefited us. We had a great run. We were in the playoffs 8 years in a row. We won a Super Bowl. With Ted's situation, I wanted to make sure I treated him fairly. I mean, he's such a great person, and obviously he had some health issues, and wanted to make sure that we handled that in the right manner. And Brian has just done a great job following in Ted's footsteps. And actually, Ted has been a huge help to Brian. And in terms of Matt, one of the things that I think to me has been a real positive is the relationship that those two have established. They're peers. They're working together. They work well together, and it's really worked out well. And I'm very, very pleased and really proud of both Brian and Matt. Relatively new in their positions, but just doing a great job for us.
Is the bug out of the locker room? I know it was in there.
I hope so. I don't want to see. Brian Balaga. I saw him the day before the game. He was fine, and that night, it hit him. So it's been pretty bad, but we've got hand sanitizer all over the building. So everywhere you go, people are washing their hands.
So Sunday, San Francisco NFC Championship game. The season's been incredible. A lot of people are going to look back at the last time that the Packers were out there, took a thumping. This time it means a little bit more.
Sure.
Aaron Rodgers feels like he's on the precipice. He was awfully sharp in the win at home last week.
Oh yeah, no, I'm happy for Aaron. He's taken some criticism this year, and but we're 13-3, and he's one of the main reasons. He's such a great quarterback. He's so smart. I thought he played, if not his best, certainly one of the best games of the year when we needed it the most. That play he made, the 3rd and 8 past Devontae, not many can make that. And so he's, having grown up a 49ers fan, I know he's really excited about this opportunity, and it should be a lot of fun. I know this, we're going to play hard, we're going to play well, and we cannot play any worse than we did the last time we were out there. So,
and with Aaron playing the way he is, and that little chip on their shoulder.
And I think we're playing much better as a team.
Absolutely.
We've won 6 in a row now. So I know the players are very excited about this opportunity. You don't get in the NFC Championship game very often, so it's a great opportunity for our players and the entire organization.
Well, a mainstay here at the Red Smith Awards. We always appreciate your time.
Yeah.
It's glad to be talking NFC Championship. Congratulations on all the success as well with the Titletown District.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, DJ.
Absolutely.
Take care. Yeah.
Packers President and CEO Mark Murphy here on stage at the 2020 Red Smith Awards press party, sponsored by Pollock Investment Group, RBC Wealth Management, inside the Red Lion Hotel, Paper Valley, head of the 55th annual Red Smith Awards, and we are joined by our guest speaker tonight. How you doing, sir?
How are you?
I am good. Broadcasting legend, Bob Costas, 28 Emmys, 8 National Sportscasters of the Year, into the Sports Broadcasting Hall of Fame. What else? What else is there? What else can I say?
That's enough.
Okay. How you doing?
I'm okay. How about you?
Great. Glad to have you here.
Thank you.
As somebody that's been in broadcasting in the radio business, somebody that I've looked up to for many years.
Thank you.
You've covered basically every major sporting event.
Yeah, I've been lucky.
Yes. Do you have one that sticks out? One singular?
It's very hard to pick one, and the one I've settled on for a number of years because it doesn't force me to choose between baseball, football, basketball, or specific events within the Olympics is Muhammad Ali lighting the torch at the opening ceremony in '96 at the Olympics in Atlanta. It was such a transcendent moment. It was beyond sports. It was beyond even the Olympics. For all the great athletes that we've all followed, and I've been lucky enough in some cases to comment upon, Ali has the greatest reach. Even a Michael Jordan, or whomever you want to mention, as great as they were, they don't have the global reach that Muhammad Ali had at his peak, and it went obviously beyond his excellence as a boxer, although he was great in that respect as well. So when he showed up even in an already impaired state, because the Parkinson's was causing him to shake, and people could tell that he was a different physical person than he had been. There was still something about him that was so magnetic. He had such an aura about him, and the reaction in the stadium that night, it was a complete surprise. Nobody knew he was going to be the guy. He stepped out of the shadows. The great swimmer Janet Evans was second to last, handed him the torch, and when he was revealed to that crowd that night, the reaction was overwhelming. So I'll always remember that.
Goosebumps for you at that point?
Yes, absolutely. Not the only time I've ever gotten goosebumps, but certainly that was among them.
You basically the equivalent of a Swiss Army knife when it comes to broadcasting, play-by-play, interviews, studio host, things like that. Is there one that you liked or preferred more?
I always enjoyed doing play-by-play of baseball, especially in the 80s with my partner Tony Kubek, who's from here in Appleton. I had dinner with him and his wife Margaret last night. Two of my favorite people and their family, their sons and daughters. I came to know all of them. So baseball play-by-play, then and now, and long-form interviews. I've been lucky enough to do a lot of memorable ones, and I think that's been a good contribution because not that many people were doing it. Some of the commentary, some of the historical pieces, I prided myself on doing some things that others, as much as I admired and enjoyed them, didn't do. Why do you want to be the 21st person doing something reasonably well instead of just about the only person, at least on network television, doing certain things? So that and baseball, I guess. And I guess people associate me with hosting the Olympics, too.
Your honesty, I think, is what draws viewers and listeners in.
And also annoys some people.
Well, but I think, to be bluntly honest, it's what draws people in.
Well, you know, the era in which we live now, it's difficult for some people. Not most. I think most people are not represented in the polarized conversation that goes on in the culture overall, no matter what the subject is. But there are some people who seem unable to say, I disagree with what BJ says, but he seems like a nice guy. If they disagree with what you've said, or they resent something you said, they then assume a bunch of stuff which likely isn't true about you as a person, which may be refuted by everything that's on the public record about you. That's the part that I find dismaying. Disagreement? No. If you weren't saying something that was interesting, then, you know, there would be people that would disagree with you. If you're going to say something that's kind of interesting, some people are going to applaud it, some people will not be as receptive to it. That's great. But when people assume, I disagree with him, therefore he's a bad guy. And just think about it in politics. Do you ever hear anybody anymore say, I disagree with so-and-so, but I respect him or her? That used to be par for the course.
Right.
Republicans and Democrats could get together, they could disagree, then they would go have dinner, and they would realize that they had more in common than what separated them. That's what's dismaying about the present state of affairs, that we have dehumanized those with whom we disagree. That troubles me.
And the walls immediately go up, and you aren't even open to the other person's side, or even, like you said, to find out more about who that individual is.
Right, here's something you almost never hear. I agree with part of what he or she said, but here's the part I disagree with. It's all, black, white, high, low, yes, no, good, bad. It all has to be primary colors. There's no nuance. There's no gray areas. I guess that's what moves the needle in modern media, too.
Last one for you. I know, obviously.
Well, we got off in a direction we didn't anticipate, didn't we?
No. And maybe we're going that direction now. But baseball, your love for the game,
yes,
obviously in the news for the wrong reasons right now.
Yeah.
With the Astros and now the Boston Red Sox. Your reaction as just a baseball fan?
Well, first of all, sign stealing has been part of the game forever, and not only is it tolerated, it's approved of if it's done with your natural wits and ingenuity.
Yep.
If you're high baseball IQ, good for you. But when we introduce technology, and anybody can realize that wherever we are today, we'll be in a different place a year from now or even a week from now because technology keeps evolving. So baseball has got to get in front of this. I think the punishments, which were very severe and very clear, handed down by Rob Manfred and then by the teams, the Astros, the Red Sox, and maybe now with the Mets, as we speak with Carlos Beltran, the purpose of this isn't just to punish those guilty, but to send an unmistakable message to anybody else. The risk here is far greater than the potential reward. You don't want this to happen to you, to your reputation, to your earning power. You don't want to run the risk. We got to stop this right now, because as bad as it may be now, it would only be worse if they didn't check it and the technology became more and more sophisticated. So in a way, although it's another black eye for baseball, I think this could be good. It could be a turning point. And it is the defining moment to this point of Rob Manfred's commissionership.
Were you surprised that the Astros didn't heed that initial warning in
Yeah.
2017?
Yeah, I was surprised. On the other hand, Alex Cora was part of that warning, and he took a version of it to Boston with him. And from what we understand, he didn't have plausible deniability in Boston. Hinch was aware of it. He acknowledges he was aware of it. He disapproved of it, but he didn't stop it. A.J. Hinch is a good man. I hope he gets back into baseball. I hope this isn't a scarlet letter that follows him forever. I hope that's also true of Alex Cora. I wouldn't want these guys to have their careers ruined. You're talking about guys in their 40s.
Right.
Carlos Beltran, you're talking about a guy who the second phase of his career is just beginning, and he was a universally respected guy. Jeff Lunau, a polarizing figure, but nobody can deny he's one of the most influential people in the modern history of baseball, and he's only in his early 50s. I'd hate to see his career end. You pay a price, but that price should not be a lifetime price. At least I hope not.
Second chance.
I hope so.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for being here.
BJ, thank you very
Absolutely.
much.
Guest speaker
Thanks
tonight,
a lot. Nice to meet you.
Broadcasting legend Bob Costas in the house tonight, our guest speaker, and we'll present here coming up at the 2020 Red Smith Awards banquet that's coming up shortly. We're going to wrap things up as the press party has come to an end and the awards banquet is on the way. Dave Edwards, MC and host, getting ready at the Red Lion Hotel, Paper Valley, for what is going to be a spectacular night. Press party sponsored by Pollock Investment Group, RBC Wealth Management, from the 55th Annual Red Smith Awards Press Party. I'm BJ DeGroat. Have a great rest of your night.